Are you suffering with lower back pain or wanting to improve your core stability? Well, if you are, in this video, I want to talk through my 3 favourite core stability exercises. I want to talk about what core stability actually is and should you be doing it, and why these are my 3 favourite exercises for you to implement into your routine. And at the end of the video, I'm actually going to talk about maybe one of the exercises that is used a lot for core stability, why perhaps I don't quite like it so much, or how you can modify it to make it a great exercise for you. So I'm going to dive into all that stuff now, so let's stay tuned. Thanks very much for checking out this channel. My name's John, I'm the head therapist at Jon W Sports Injury. If you are new to our channel, I want you to know that we want to do 3 simple things for you. We want to help you to understand your body so you can get rid of pain or weakness and ultimately allow you to strive forward and hit your health and well-being goals. So, core stability. Firstly, what even is core stability? It's a term that gets bounded around a lot. We see it a lot mentioned. People might have said to you, you need to improve your core stability to help with your back pain. Why is this the case? Well, muscles can be grouped into 2 groups, mobilizers and stabilizers. So what we mean by this is certain muscles have roles or functions. Some might be to move our body and others might be to hold our body still in space and keep our joints aligned and moving correctly. So in this video, we're talking about our stabilizing muscles. And then we add on this part, core stabilizer muscles. So what these muscles in particular are the ones that are wrapped in and around our abdomen and help to stabilize our spine. So when our body is in motion or when we're moving our body, we want to try and make sure that we're not getting too much movement out of that back, because over time, that will mean that our spine is being overused and can lead to a problem. If we can actually get our core to be nice and strong, the muscles that are designed to support and stabilize the spine, they are going to be assisting that spine and therefore lead to less lower back pain. So what are these muscles in particular? Again, we often hear people talk about, I need to improve my core stability, so I need to get going on some sit-ups. In my opinion, not totally correct, because what we're doing there, if we think about the spine, is we're actually creating a lot of movement at the spine. And what we're looking to work there is our rectus abdominis, or our 6-pack muscles, where actually what we want to be working is the muscles deeper to that. So we have muscles that we term our transverse abdominis, our multifidi. So these are muscles that are living in and around the spine, designed to support it. So actually what we want to do with core stability exercises is almost make our spine go to move, but recruit those muscles, those deep muscles, in order that they are working rather than the spine moving. So let's talk through 3 of my favourite core stability exercises and why I think these work. First of all, the first exercise that I want to talk about is often termed the bird dog, or sometimes I term it the Superman. And what we're looking to do here is take ourselves into a position of 4-point kneeling. So that means our knees are on the floor and our hands are on the floor, both at about shoulder and hip width apart. So remember, the crucial thing here is that the spine should not be moving. What we can start by doing is by lifting one arm. What should be happening here is that the spine feels like the hips want to drop, but actually you're preventing those dropping by holding that spine nice and still. And you should be feeling a pull deep in your stomach. So what you want to do is raise that arm, return it to the start position, and then raise the other arm. If that exercise starts to become easy for you and you're finding that it's a exercise that you can perform without any back pain or no fatigue, what we can do is do the next variation of this exercise. And this is your classic bird dog exercise. And what we're looking to do here is to lift one arm and one leg. So it's the opposing arm to the opposing leg. So all we're creating here is a bigger challenge. Now you really feel that body want to drop to the side that you're lifting, but what you want to be doing is holding that spine nice and still, holding that body in a fixed position. And if you're doing this correctly, you will then feel those deep core muscles firing. So you can see with this exercise, it's a classic exercise where what we're looking to do is to give the body that challenge, but by activating the core stability muscles, the spine is held into its correct position and we're developing those stabilizing muscles, so that when you're out exercising or moving or lifting or doing some of those functional things, those core stability muscles, or core stabilizing muscles I should say, are trained to provide you with that support. So the second exercise that I like to give as part of a core stability program is our standing rotations. Now, what we look to do here is we look to stand with our feet at shoulder width apart. The crucial point of this exercise is from this point, the hips do not move. But what we can look to do is lift our arms out in front of us, and we look to rotate our arms off to one side, back to the middle, and then we look to rotate off to the other side. But the crucial point I repeat about this exercise is that our hips should not move. Naturally, as you rotate your arms off to the side, your hips will want to move, and that will create movement or rotation of the spine. Whereas by keeping those hips nice and still, you should feel the difference in those core stabilizing muscles having to engage and fire and providing that support to the spine. Why I like this exercise so much is particularly functional exercises like walking and running. When we're standing and moving forwards, we want those core stabilizing muscles to be working. We want those core stabilizing muscles to be giving that support to our lower back whilst we're going through these walks or hikes or runs or whatever the exercise may be. So by training it in this manner with this standing exercise of rotation, what we're looking to do is really recreate that functional movement, but get those core stabilizing muscles fired, switched on, and ultimately strengthened. Now, you can progress this exercise by either adding a weight, so putting something like a dumbbell in your hand as you rotate will make the exercise more difficult, or if we're feeling even more confident, we can actually do a one-legged version of this exercise where we're standing on one leg. And again, I really like that variation for things like running, when we spend a lot of our time shifting from one leg to the other, and we want those core to fire, so that as we shift from one leg to the other as we run, we don't get any movement from the spine, more contraction from the core stability muscles in order to help us strengthen that lower back. So moving on to my third exercise, and that is working through a side plank. Now I'm going to talk throughout this video, or the remainder of this video, about the plank, because you may have already known or been aware, or as soon as I heard core stabilizing exercises, that I would talk about the plank. Now, I do have a certain problem with the plank, and you will actually see a video on my YouTube channel about why I actually don't like the plank. Now, my problem with the plank is that I think actually if we don't have a good, solid understanding of what core stability actually is, it can be a very difficult exercise. So, and that includes the side plank. But you'll notice that there's some contradiction going on here, because I'm mentioning that I don't like the plank, but yet my third exercise is the side plank. But what I encourage people to do is start with a modified version of the side plank. I like the side plank because it tackles some of the other aspects of our core stabilizing muscles, being the side muscles and the oblique areas, and that gives us a well-rounded and strong core approach. But what I would encourage you to do is to work these side planks in a modified version. Start by laying on your side, popping your elbow down onto the floor. But the key point here is to have the legs bent and to drive up from that knee position. So what we're doing is shortening the levers a little bit from our classic side plank position. Now, as we push up, we want to hold that position. And we're looking to hold for about 30 seconds. Now, what we want to be doing here is making sure that we can feel that contraction, but not letting our hips drop or change position. You want to try and keep that perfect straight line to feel those muscles contracting, but giving that spine that challenge, but making sure the core stabilizes fire. Now, if that does become easier, what we can look to do is lengthen that lever, so we can look to shuffle those knees further out, ultimately moving towards coming up onto your toes in order to complete the full side plank exercise. But this should be done as a progression. So actually making sure that we're comfortable for extended periods of time doing it in the shortened version, and then slowly lengthening that lever. Because as I've said, before I finish this video, I want to touch upon the plank. And is it a good stabilizing exercise? Yes, it is if it's done correctly. But the problem I find with it is actually when you're on your elbows and onto your tiptoes, that's a very long lever, a very short base of support, and as a result it makes that exercise very difficult. And what I see people shuffling and moving about through the plank because they have a sort of duration or trying to keep the position for as long as possible. But by adapting that position, we're actually moving that spine around and losing the benefits of the core stabilizing exercises. And a common thing I hear is that I get lower back pain at the end of doing the plank. So we have to think really about what we're looking to achieve when we're doing the plank. We want to be building our core stability, but if we're getting lower back pain, what we know is that we've overworked those core stabilizing muscles, they've now switched off and all the strain is going into some of the other muscles and into the lower back, completely getting rid of the point of what we're doing for the exercise. So again, what I would suggest is if we want to take on the plank exercise, that we modify this exercise a little bit at first. We could try doing it on our hands rather than our elbows, which tends to be a slightly easier version. Or my great way of starting the plank is to follow the same principles that I did with the side plank, which is actually to start off on our knees. And then as we become more confident with the exercise, we can increase that lever and slide those knees back until we build to the point where we can actually go onto our toes to make that a far more comfortable exercise. I hope that's been helpful for you. My biggest takeaway I would hope for you is to understand the principles of core stabilizing exercises, which is that we want to be firing the muscles that are there to protect and support our spine. So things like sit-ups and things, we were creating lots of movement at the spine, not a helpful exercise for core stability. But actually some of the 3 exercises that I've mentioned throughout this video, being the bird dog, the standing rotations and the side plank, and I scarcely say the full version of the plank, can be very helpful if done correctly to build those core stabilizing muscles. But remember, don't create pain at that lower back. If you're feeling pain at your lower back, we're doing too long a duration of the exercise or too difficult a modification of the exercise. So change those things until you can do them comfortably, and like always, build progressively. Has that been helpful for you? I really hope that this has. Core stability is a crucial exercise or a crucial component of your strength that we want to build in order to help with lower back pain and overall sporting performance. If it's been helpful for you and you've made it this far in the video, you can show me that by hitting that like button. The other thing that hitting that like button does is that's going to help others who are looking for core stability exercise to see this video. And if you like our videos, why not hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, because then I will keep you updated as soon as we drop our next one. But speaking of the next one, here's another video to help you on your health and well-being journey. And I look forward to seeing you on our next video.